Hi, welcome to Ringside with Kayla. Today I'm here with Jose, Delgado, and Chema. How are you doing today?
Pretty good in yourself?
I'm doing good, thank you for asking. Now, to get started, I know you have a very inspirational story coming into the sport of boxing and also your own very inspiring self-experience. Do you mind explaining about how did you first get into boxing?
Why in reality, I got into boxing just to get physically active at, I want to say, 7 or 8 years old. I was weighing about 200 pounds. Um, my dad didn't want me at the house anymore, just playing video games. So I just got a physical. I just got into boxing just to get physically active, started losing weight, and ended up getting into the amateurs, and I ended up liking it really a lot. That's thanks to one of my cousins. That actually took me to the sport of boxing because I wanted to try soccer, and due to the fact of my condition, they didn't let me play soccer. So boxing was the only sport that I've ever done.
And after your experience in the amateurs, what made you realize that you wanted to turn it professional?
There was in the amateurs, I grew up with this guy that always saw him that I got to see him go pro, and then just seeing the fact that he was winning pro fights made me want to do the same thing, and just the fact that with my condition, I just thought that it would be a bigger opportunity for me to go into the sport. Just the fact that I have a really inspiring story, that would really motivate people, So at the same time, I was looking to go into the sport, not to become a world champ or not to strive for what everybody's trying to strive for the WBC belt. I'm just trying to strive to inspire people like myself, kids with disabilities like myself, and people as well with disabilities that don't think that they can't do it. No, anything is possible, as long as you put your mind to it.
And do you mind describing a little bit like what exactly your condition is?
Yeah, when I was 6 months, 6 months of age, newborn basically, I was in a car accident with my parents. We were moving from, I believe, from Oxnard to Bakersfield. And one of those moves, traveling back and forth, one of those travels going back to Bakersfield, we flipped over right there off Gorman on Highway 5, and the car cut my leg completely, just hanging by a nerve. And from there, my dad rushed to. There was actually a Carlos Jr. right there, and he rushed to get ice bucket and just put me in my leg as well, just to see what would happen. And the paramedics came and just rushed me to UCLA, and ever since then I've had about over 50, maybe even about 50 to 70 surgeries.
And when you decided that you wanted to be a professional in the sport of boxing, what was your parents' reaction to that, or your family's reaction?
Um, Boxing, it was the thing is they've never thought that I was gonna actually pursue the pros. The pros just randomly presented itself to pursue my sport, and of going from the amateurs transforming to the pros. So my mom was always the one that was getting nervous, a lot nervous at the amateurs, always telling me to, what, don't you think you should quit, like look for a different sport. I was doing so good in the amateurs that I continued. I would take breaks from time to time due to the fact that every other year I would get surgeries. But after my surgeries, I would come back, lose the weight that I had to lose, and start competing again in the amateurs. Again, due to the fact that I was getting surgeries from every other year, then I didn't have that many amateur fights. But that's why I would take the opportunity to fight as much as I can. But one day I went up to Robert and, hey, I want to train with you, and I want to get the opportunity to go pro. All he said was, come by my gym and we'll see what we could do. We brought me in to work with Abner Mares, to spar for Abner Mares, and from time to time I would tell him I wanted to turn pro. For a while he didn't want to turn me pro, until he saw that I was hanging in there with not just Abner Mares, but Josh Franco, Bam Rodriguez, Hector Tanajara, and so on, you know. So he gave me the opportunity, and ever since then I've been there in the pros.
And how long have you known Robert Garcia for?
Um, I call Robert my uncle due to the fact that my uncle was married to one of his sisters. So I could say all my life I didn't, I didn't build a bond with him or a relationship with Robert until actually going to his gym. I would run into him from time to time from family events that my uncle and my dad would have, and I would say hi to him, what's up, and the small little conversations, but nothing too big until I got to his gym. You know, that's when I started building a relationship with him, and he knew of me. He knew of my story, as a little kid as well. So I necessarily he wasn't a stranger to me, and I wasn't a stranger to him.
And with overcoming all the trials and tribulations that you had coming into the sport of boxing, what do you hope that people take away from your story?
Everything about me back when I was younger, growing up, I was a little ashamed of my leg due to the fact of being bullied. Growing up, going into my teens, I started not caring, you know, and even more when I went to Robert's gym. Robert built up my confidence. It's one of the gyms that they build up your confidence to make you believe in yourself, even when sometimes when you think you can't make it, you know. So I think my story is just to show people that anything is possible. You know, some people have it harder than others, but I think working hard and being able to try without giving up is, I think it's just a win. It's a win for anybody. You know, I think me being in the sport of boxing, me being able to fight in the pros and keep up in the pros, you know, I think that's just a win for me already. You know, to be able to be in a big boxing camp like Robert Garcia, train alongside Robert Garcia, Mikey Garcia, Bam Rodriguez, Hector Tanajara, and so on. Right, Raymond Muratayano, all of them. You know, just it's a learning experience. So, you know, I think for me and my story, just hope this is able to inspire people. That's really my goal in the boxing game.
And what would you say is your biggest motivation?
The crazy thing is, my biggest motivation back in the day, I could say I was young. I could say I've always wanted to get the fame, just to get my story out there. Back in 2021, I had my first kid, and then recently this year, back in September, I had my second kid. And my biggest motivation is to hope for my kids, for one day for them to be proud of me. You know, for what I've been in the sport, to say when they grew up and say, hey, you know, this was my dad. This is what he did. He wasn't in the sport to become a world champion. He was in the sport to motivate other people and to look after other people, you know, especially with disability, you know. So that's my big motivation, my kids, you know, my kids and any people that have disabilities like myself, you know. They motivate me to help them be motivated to not want to give up.
And it's still kind of early, but you have your next fight December 2nd for
Correct.
House of Champions. How do you feel coming into that fight?
So far so good, you know. I'm really looking forward to it. I just got back to Robert's gym 2 weeks ago. Ever since I've been back out there, nothing but good news has been going on. So, you know, good news comes my way. Just gets me really motivated, you know. Still don't know who I'm fighting, but Robert and all of the RGBA know that I'm not scared to fight anybody. So whoever they put in front of me is just something I'm willing to take, no matter how tough the challenge is, you know. So I'm always motivated, you know. I'm always motivated, and I've always said that you can't go half on a fight, because boxing is really a dangerous sport. We do get hit a lot. There is a lot of people that sometimes fall into coma. So, you know, that's what really scares me that at times too, you know. So what motivates me is my kids, you know, that I had to come back home to them, you know. So that's my biggest motivation, my kids and people with disabilities like myself.
And what would you say is the hardest thing about training?
The hardest thing about training, I want to say training in general, cutting weight, being disciplined to not eating certain things that you're not supposed to eat. I think I could say basically in the actual training, I think cardio with leg work is the hardest thing for me. But like I said, if you go to Robert, they'll tell you that I don't give up, and there's sometimes people that wanna give up on certain exercises, and I'm just one that doesn't quit. I'll still push it even if I'm the last one. I'll still continue to push it.
And what's it like being able to have Robert Garcia as your trainer and just be around that gym?
It's a big motivation having Robert. Just building the relationship that me and Robert built, the confidence, the trust that we built. It's just it's amazing. It's just it shows that he believes in me. He's able to tell me certain things to push me to that level to get the work done. So and just for a fact that me and him have had conversations, and just know the fact that he wouldn't risk my life, it really means a lot, to have somebody like that.